Democrats are responding to the new data on how popular the deportations have been by openly calling for violence on ICE agents. Here is the data before I show you the horrendous videos popping up online, because they're truly horrible. I don't know how we find common ground with these people, but before I show you that, I want to show you this new data that came out from the New York Times Siena poll. The question, do you support or oppose deportating immigrants living in the U.S. illegally back to their home countries? Support is at 54%. That is plus 11 over oppose for 43. Now, 43 is ridiculous. I don't know how 43% of Americans can say that's a bad thing. In any case, polling wise, 54% is pretty decent actually on most issues. So this is a big win for Trump. It's a big win just for America. I mean, again, the fact that only 54% would say that worries me, but at least it's still popular. At least it still is the majority of people who agree we can't just keep taking in illegal immigrants. Now, breaking that down by demographic, I think tells more of the story. There's a massive divide between men and women right now. Men are at 65% support, whereas women are only at 45% support, so a difference of 20% on that. White people and black people are almost perfectly in opposite. White people plus 25 on support, whereas black people are negative 25 on support. Hispanic negative 38%. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. And then other minorities such as Asian, Native American are actually plus 16. So white people and all minorities except Hispanic and black pretty much in agreement on this. Independents support it, which is a win, huge win for the GOP. Somehow 6% of the GOP oppose it, but 92% support it. Democrat, only 19% approve it. And this is where it gets really interesting. They break it down by age. Age isn't as interesting. 18 to 29, as you'd expect, is the age group that doesn't support it. All the other age groups do. But what's really interesting is if you look at someone with a bachelor's degree, it's even. 49% say they support it, 50% say they oppose it. But no bachelor degree, 57% to 38% say they support it. And I think that tells the story. I think that it's people who are being affected in the job market and maybe in housing as well are the ones that are actually moving towards the deportation, saying this is something that needs to happen because they're the ones that are actually affected. The liberals who have bachelor's degrees and live in New England aren't affected in the same way as the rural person that didn't get a bachelor's degree in Arizona, for example, or California. So it's safe to say that not only have the deportations been successful on a policy level, I think they've also been very successful on a political level. Democrats, obviously not happy about this. That's why they're openly calling for violence against ICE officers. For example, here is an absolutely putrid lady saying you should go out and murder ICE officials.
You can just kill ICE agents. You know that? You can just kill them. You don't have to hold your phone in their face and ask people when their birthday is and ask people what their name is and then try to find wherever they end up in Los Angeles. You can kill them. This isn't about social media clout anymore. This isn't about video. This isn't about the phone. This is about get a gun and start killing ICE agents. They are deputized corrections officers. Kill them.
I talked about this on the show last week, but this is why Republicans are saying Democrats are the party of violence right now. If we're being super honest about the numbers, I've looked into the data on this, on hate crime, mass shooting numbers. It's close to a 50-50 split in terms of people on the right versus the left and who's committing these crimes. It's actually 50-50. So it's really not a Democrat or Republican problem. However, the difference is the fact that it is the people, if you look at the right-wing crime that's happening, it's people on the alt-right, the fringe right, some people who have absolutely no control or power in the Republican Party. However, if you look at the left, it is very normal to demonize the ICE agents in this way. It is mainstream to do it. You never see a normal MAGA guy call for all-out violence on Democrats. That's not a mainstream thing. On the other hand, mainstream leftism right now in the Democrat Party is saying that you can do whatever you want to ICE agents. You can do whatever you want to the fascists and the Nazis. That is the language that they are using. And so, sure, ideologically, you could say it's 50-50, but it's happening on the alt-right, which has nothing to do with the Republican Party, and it's happening in the mainstream left, which has everything to do with the Democrat Party. And here's what's crazy about this. This has not always been how it's been. This is a very new phenomenon. A clip from Hillary Clinton has resurfaced from a couple of decades ago. It was in the 90s, She correctly explained how illegal immigration was a huge problem and how we need to stop creating incentives in this country for letting them in, and how officers and ICE agents and deportations are totally great. Take a look.
As to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have.
That is Hillary freaking Clinton. 2025 Hillary Clinton would call 1990 Hillary Clinton a Nazi if she were here today. That is very clear. Chuck Schumer was the exact same way. Here's a video of Chuck Schumer saying the same thing back in 1996.
This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find without it changing the actions of the government one bit. And we find all this opposition. Ladies and gentlemen of this chamber, what I worry about is that this bill, which started out with good intentions, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, is going to end up being the same kind of thing that the public gets angry with us on. We say we're doing something, and we do nothing. Because every time someone makes a rational and small proposal to get something done, people say, well, what about this hypothetical, that hypothetical, etc. I urge support of this amendment. If you believe you want to stop fraud in immigration, you have no choice but to support this amendment.
Only 1996, not very long ago, somehow all of us were able to agree that illegal immigration was bad. And somehow we were even able to agree that deportations were good just 10 years ago under Obama. Obama was the president of the United States 10 years ago. Obama deported 3 million people. One of the very few things that he did that was a good thing. Yet today, the Democrat Party has just abandoned that policy because of their new strategy. It's new. A lot of people have been saying this has been happening for a while. If you look at how the Democrat Party is operated, it's actually a fairly new strategy. The Democrat Party has abandoned common sense immigration policy because of their new strategy to legalize illegal immigrants to get more votes, to grant amnesty. That's what DACA is. That's what the Dreamers is. That's what all of this new craziness of them just opening the borders during the Biden administration. Even though the politics of it is important, we don't want Democrats taking power that way. Like that's good enough. The politics are already aside. We don't want Democrats to have it. But the most important thing, the thing that Democrats I think are really, frankly, evil in, and again, I'm not talking about Democrat voters, I'm talking about the Democrat elite, is how this affects everyday Americans as well as the non-American lives as well who are coming here illegally. Democrats don't talk about this, but illegal immigration allows all kinds of horrible things to happen to people all the time. You've got children who are trafficked, women sexually assaulted, men are exploited. I was a missionary. I've talked about it on the show before. I was a missionary in rural Washington. I was assigned to speak Spanish and preach to Mexican immigrants. I heard these stories every single day, horror stories of people coming here illegally or sometimes even legally, and they were exploited in many ways. People who tried to come to America, obviously because of the greatness of it, and as well as some of the bad incentives that were created by Democrats, they were taken advantage of, trafficked, threatened, forced to help in the trafficking at times, even lost family members trying to come here. And I'm not talking about people dying in the desert because they walked across. I'm talking about exploitation from the cartel that had happened. And again, these are all because of incentives that Democrats have set up. Here is a video that has gone viral of a social worker in Maine pleading with her district to stop incentivizing illegal immigrants to come because of what is happening to them. Take a look.
We've all heard about the Talbot incident. That's one. As just one of 30 social workers in the district, we all have 40 kids that have been deported already. I could talk to you for a year talking about the trauma that I have to hold on to for these kids. Truly, it is no exaggeration. These parents are murdered, that they're coming from other countries, murdered. The students themselves have been raped. They've been human trafficked. We hear it every single day. It's not just a one-off story. I'm telling you, just in my school alone, it is a consistent story every single day.
Horrible. Horrible. And the Democrat Party is complicit, not the immigrants. They're just following the incentives put in place by politicians already. That's what I've said from the beginning of this. The politicians are to blame. Most Americans understand this, by the way. That's why the polling looks good for anti-immigration, illegal immigration policies. Right now, I showed you the poll earlier, but this is another poll that just came out. The question, which political party do you trust more on the following issues? And you can see, and these issues are, tied together, crime and immigration are the Republican Party's best policies. R plus 14 on crime, R plus 11 on immigration. So as well as national security, I should say as well, R plus 8, which for sure is tied in to illegal immigration. And then you have I think at the bottom, I'll just talk about the other issues. Education, healthcare, certainly important. But abortion, climate change, I guess what I'm trying to say is the Democrat Party has all of the issues that are, less important. What could be more important than crime, inflation, national security? Obviously, education is important. Obviously, healthcare, abortion, sure, they're important to a degree. But the American people understand that at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, when you're looking at what's going to protect your family, are you going to be safe? That is what matters the most. The Republican Party is up a lot, and it's because of the immigration policy. Make no mistake. Republicans are delivering on illegal immigration right now. I pray they keep that up and are relentless on the deportations, because we cannot afford to go back and go through this as a country again. We cannot afford to put these people as well in harm's way. From a Christian, right? I think the conservative movement is a Christian movement. I think the Republican Party is a Christian party for the most part. As Christians, we cannot create incentives for this to happen to the illegal immigrants. Are we America first? For sure. I think the top priority of the Republican Party should be creating immigration policy to benefit Americans. That's the first. But I do think the second is looking at what this does to illegal immigrants and understanding that it helps nobody, that it is hurting them, and it is a human rights abuse to create these incentives. That's what Democrats have done. We should not let Democrats do that in order to try to get more voters. The progressive left is a cult. I talk about it in my book, A New Cult. I talk about a lot of stories that you can't talk about on big tech because big tech wants to censor it, but it's there in the book. I know you'll enjoy it. Go check it out. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, everybody. Please like the video so other great patriots like yourselves will see it, and you can tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show, or you can watch another video right here.